You want a man to become obsessed with you, chase you, and focus only on you for once? And what if I told you that the secret to doing this is actually saying no to him more? I know it sounds counterintuitive, right? But give me the next 60 seconds and I will break down this entire concept for you. And it's going to materially improve your life. And if you don't listen to it, I got to warn you, your love life will be a lot more difficult. So if we want this guy to start falling head over heels in love with you, stick with me. Okay, so let's imagine there's two different women. One is walking into a room and seeing every guy's posture change. Everyone's standing up straight. They're like, ooh, who the heck is she? She's not necessarily prettier. She's not the loudest, but there's something about her, some magnetic quality that makes guys really pay attention, stand up straighter, speak more carefully, and try harder to impress her. Now, what does she have that you don't? It's not confidence, it's not looks, and it's not charm. It's something that many women are terrified to use because they've been told, oh, don't be difficult. Oh, guys don't really like it when you impose boundaries. No. She actually says no more, and she means it, because here's what's happening over and over and over again. Women give everything, their time, their body, their energy, their whole hearts to guys who literally give them breadcrumbs, texts at 2 a.m., last-minute plans, empty promises, and somehow we convinced ourselves that this is what love looks like. No, it's not. It's not what it is. We need to stop being an option, because that being an option, it ain't that. We're the prize. So let me show you the 3 boundaries that separate queens from placeholder girlfriends from options. So boundary number 1 that I need you to set. Now, let me show you the 3 boundaries that separate queens from placeholders or options. Boundary number 1 is when you say no, it's final. No means no. And picture this. You tell him you won't sleep with him on the first date. His response is, we'll see. Because guys, they've been conditioned to be sweet talkers, to be players. They've figured out how they can test your boundaries because they've tested other women and they've won. And they said no, he applied pressure, that woman ended up caving. And I know it sounds yucky, but a lot of guys are accustomed to this. So what changes everything is when you say, hey, I don't go home with anyone on the first night. The date ends at 10 p.m. It's 9:59, and even though you're having the time of your life, you say, hey, this was amazing, but I got to get going. He might push on. He might say, come on, just one more drink. Oh, we should definitely go grab ice cream. You smile and you say, I've had a wonderful time. You know, it takes a lot of effort to look this good. I got to get my beauty rest. And the brutal psychology is the moment men see that you can't be talked out of your decisions, it's over. Your boundaries don't become suggestions anymore. Your words are no longer negotiable. Your standards are definite. And he actually sees you as higher value. He's like, oh, dang. A woman who really sticks by her guns, a woman that really shows that she ain't no one to mess with. Because a lot of times guys that can, and this is why if you watch my channel for a while, I always often talk about, extending the intimacy time horizon. We want to make this guy wait, not because we don't want it, right? But because he will view us in a different world, because he'll see, oh, she doesn't give it out to everyone. She's special. She's different. She is very selective with who she lets into her life. And again, there's nothing wrong necessarily with becoming intimate early, but that perspective is really important because the guy often thinks, well, am I that cool? Or has this happened before? All right, let's get into boundary number 2. Ultimately, no means no. Boundary number 1, easy peasy. All right, let's go into boundary number 2. So proper planning or nothing. So proper or nothing. Nothing. Imagine, it's Tuesday. He asked you out for Friday. Radio silence all week. Then Friday at 6 p.m. Hey, we still on for tonight? Can't wait to grab sushi for you. And you're like, what? You need a definitive date, time, and location, and a follow-up text. Do not be letting these guys come back around, because I'm going to tell you a truth that a lot of guys do not want you to know. When you accept last-minute plans, even if there was a vague plan proposed earlier on, what's happening is a guy scheduled multiple women on the same night, and then the others cancel. And the reason he's following up with you late is because the one he really wanted canceled. So when you accept a last minute plan, you're essentially saying, oh, I was just sitting around waiting for you. No, if he's not confirming at least 24 hours ahead of the date, and usually that same day, make other plans. Do not sit around. I don't care if you don't have plans, reject the plan, because he's going to assume you have no options, which is going to show that you're, in his eyes, perceived as more desperate. And when you're Your reservation requires effort when plans need to be confirmed 24 hours in advance. When he actually has to think about seeing you, suddenly you become a lot more valuable. Imagine this. There's a very posh restaurant, right? Now, the posh restaurant, can you just call them up ahead of time and say, oh, I'm going to be there in 30 minutes. Do you have any seats open? You could, but almost always that posh restaurant's going to say, sorry, we need to make a reservation, 72 hours in advance, a few weeks in advance. That's how you have to see yourself. You are as valuable, if not more valuable. Obviously, it feels reductive because we're talking about a restaurant, but you are more valuable than that, right? Something that is valuable is often valuable because it's scarce. Let's think about like six-pack abs or having like a really amazing bikini body. It is valuable because it's scarce. It is valuable because it's hard to get, right? You are seen in this same way. You are valuable. Well, all people have fundamental value, but we're literally talking about like economics here. He views you as valuable because you're more difficult to get. And this goes into the no means no, right? If you perceive yourself as more difficult to get, as more difficult to please in a counterintuitive way, you are seen as more valuable. Just like an amazing Chanel bag, tougher to get, that increases its value. So suddenly, your time when you're rejecting these last minute plans becomes a lot more valuable. And suddenly, you become somebody worth scheduling his date around. And if he doesn't want to schedule, fair enough. Weed him out. We don't want these low effort guys. And so your response when he comes to you with this last minute plan, you say, oh no, I made other plans when I didn't hear from you. Let's try again next week with some more notice. And watch how fast his planning skills improve. People think, oh, guys are so bad at planning. You're like, no, they don't like you. Oftentimes, if a guy does not plan well, he just doesn't like you. Or he thinks in his mind, and this is why it's so important to increase our perceived value in his mind, because guys treat you how they see you. Go back to my brutal truths video, and that will show you a lot about that. All right, so let's go to boundary number 3. Let's say earn GF treatment, right? So a lot of people think that if they just do everything for a guy, if they start acting like his girlfriend before he's actually your boyfriend, cooking him meals, cleaning his place, being his therapist, letting her trauma dump on you, sleeping over 4 nights a week, that is going to get you the girlfriend spot. That's going to make you, accelerate the commitment. But what he actually thinks is, wow, I'm getting all these benefits of a relationship without any real commitment. Why would I change this? He is getting every single thing he wants out of the relationship. And if a guy really wants to lock you down, he will make it known. But if you're not going to push for it, right? If you're going to give him the girlfriend treatment prior to being his actual girlfriend, he's going to think, oh, this is a great situation. Oh, let me not mess this up. So I want you to wait at least 2 to 3 months, right? Before giving that kind of consistent girlfriend level treatment. And ideally, you should already be considered his girlfriend. He should be introducing you as his girlfriend, not 3 dates, not 3 weeks, not 3 months. You need to lay off. I know you want to cook him banana bread. I know you want to, show him how great of a girlfriend you are, because I know you will be. But let him earn it. Again, this all comes back to guys like women who they have to earn, that they feel like they, did something for, that they felt like, there's high perceived difficulty. Guys play video games in their free time. They're like, I win the game. Guys want there to be a high perceived difficulty. Not so much that they feel like they cannot get you, like that you feel unattainable, because then they'll just stop trying, but they want to feel like you're slightly out of reach. Like you're so close. Oh, she's, worth trying for. Because when you give away your girlfriend treatment, when you give away your body, when you give away your time for very little value exchange, he will feel like, she's not worth that much, because clearly she's giving all this stuff away and I'm not really putting in much effort. So these boundaries are really important in enforcing and really setting the relationship off with the frame that, you are the prize. You are the prize. And this is something that we often go into in our aura modules and our stuff about mindset, is you really need to internalize this, that you are a queen, you are a prize. Because imagine a queen, right? If some guy just makes a random last minute date with a queen, she can be like, I'm not going there, or tries to bring you to some place that's not really to your standard. You're like, and not to say you should be completely so posh as to never go to a cool, I don't know, a petting zoo. A petting zoo would be kind of cool. But just think about those types of things. Are you actually being perceived as the prize? And would you put up with subpar standards? Because ultimately, our boundaries are just a representation of how we want to be treated. And if we're not implementing those boundaries, then we're showing him he can treat us in a way that is really bad for us. And ultimately, it will make us explode. Because a lot of people, they can hold together and they can say, oh, like maybe it'll get better, blah, blah, blah. But when they do not express their boundaries, they end up feeling used, and it often comes into a crash out. Crash out is just a term the kids use these days for saying that, like, you went bananas on them. You really started freaking out. So again, ultimately, we need to use these boundaries so that you can get the treatment you deserve, and it will actually train him to like you more. It's counterintuitively enough. We're not being difficult. We're not, just putting together. We're not trying to be mean. We're just trying to make it sure that you're getting the best behavior in this relationship possible. And I want you to see the difference in how much this impacts your love life. I love you. Ciao.